Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the homebound hottie herself, Sandy Reevy. Say hi.
Hi.
It is
How do we do that? Hi.
Yes. It is episode 311, the week of July 8th. Let's get right into it. In the transits, we start off with today, Monday, Venus sextile Uranus.
Bust out.
And Mercury sextile Jupiter.
Speak it loud.
July 10th, Wednesday, Sun trine Saturn retrograde.
Sun becomes.
July 11th, Thursday, Venus trine Neptune retrograde.
Vision is conceived.
And Venus ingress Leo.
Take pride.
And July 12th, Friday, ending the week with Venus opposing Pluto retrograde.
Is everything so important?
Then in Talisman times, we have one upcoming talisman for you, the talisman of the month of July. On the horizon, our astrology forecast, an astrology webinar, as well as our astrology retreats. And in our house, I have a meditation for you to help distinguish your emotions and how they affect your body for this Cancer season. Stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you.
Hello, homebound hottie.
I am. I'm headed. Well, I guess I'm already back.
Right. We're recording it before you leave, and by the time this airs, you will be back. But you're headed to Cincinnati.
I'll have spent the weekend of July 4th with my mom. And she says, if we're not going down to the farm, she says, we'll just cook hot dogs on our sticks on her fire pit in the back of the woods.
Perfect.
Like, can I bring brats, Mom?
All right, everybody. So it is episode 311, the week of July 8th. I hope you all had a great holiday weekend. And going direct to all you listeners, thank you so much for your feedback, your reviews. We love them all. These are some of the highlights. I'm going to return this back. These are some of the highlights of the feedback we get. So when people expand on it and talk more in depth about it, I also asked them to summarize it as if it was like a, newspaper clipping, like a quick title.
A headline.
Yeah, a headline. So this is describing readings, retreats, workshops, and every intention bracelet. So any way that people are really engaging with us. Amazing, accurate, gifted. Now it all makes sense. When the stars support your next move.
I like that one. It's true.
Expertise, knowledge, intuition, invaluable. Right on target.
Oh.
Great insight. Interesting and invaluable to my life. So thank you, everybody, for sending in those highlights, sending in your feedback. It is our soul food, so keep it coming.
And I do see those. When people fill that out, I do get it in my inbox. I do read them all and feel very warm and, humbled.
Right.
And again, soul food makes me excited for the next call that I'll have. Right. But to hear them all like boom, 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 like you just did is super, very gracious, right? Very grateful.
Yes. Okay, so let's move into the transits. We start the week off with July 8th, Monday. We have two transits. We start off with Venus sextile Uranus.
Yeah, now this is with reception. We start the Monday off at 6 a.m. here. And if I'm allowed to say this, we're our own producers, right? You're the producer. Because it reminds me of this Venusian quality of making a sextile to Uranus. And Uranus is in her home sign, right, in Taurus. And so it's kind of like, and it's a sextile. It's like, take the opportunity to ramp up a bit of the, bust out. And then my immediate mind is like, tits up.
Oh, cleavage. Got it.
It's kind of like shoulders back, bust up, because I remember when we were like 14, 15 years old and we're all kind of coming into age, right? And it would be like, I must I must increase my bust. Do you know, I never taught you that.
No, thankfully.
And there was an exercise you did to, and you would repeat that.
So you'd move your arms
in
and out.
And strengthen and I don't know, push your boob. I don't know what it is. But anyway, it's like be proud of who you are or what you wear, right? Because it's the Venusian. It has an aesthetic quality here. Different and unusual is where I want to live, right? Did you see my outfit today? A little crazy.
Bright yellow
with
sweater top with some very geometric, like square geometric.
Orange, yellow, white, black geometric stripes, all different colors and blocks.
Yeah.
Anyway, kind of be different, be proud of who you are and what you enjoy and what you like. This kind of is like show yourself, show your, kind of raise up a little bit here. Like be unusual, take your opportunity to, it's a helpful, it's a helpful aspect. It's not about hovering and covering and enveloping inside. It's really about coming out,
right?
Kind of thing.
Yeah, and showing your unique qualities. So let's move on to the next transit for July 8th, Monday. Mercury sextile Jupiter.
So here, this is also with reception because Mercury, the planet that rules, well, 2 signs, but in this particular case, it's Gemini. So Mercury in Leo is making another sextile, an opportunistic approach to Jupiter in Gemini, right?
Okay, so Mercury, Jupiter's in Mercury's sign. Got it.
And so it's kind of like I like to have this vision of, maybe the queen or, the king or one of the princes being in an alignment, like you guys have made eye contact, right? When
you're like a bystander on the side.
when you're going to the parade and I don't know, the Pope, or in my case, if it's like John Mellencamp or something.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, it kind of does remind me of those moments in concerts where it's like all of a sudden quiet. No one really expected it. And then somebody goes like, I love you, John Mellencamp. And then everyone hears it. And then John hears it and he's like, I love you too. And it's like that moment that like you are one fish in a big, big ocean, but somehow that message gets out and it's just like it hits right there.
Yep,
and we've all seen those videos or even been at the concert where somebody's like, no way, he just responded to him. That's so cool.
Right. And just like we were just at the Michael Franti concert and it's kind of like when he makes eye contact with somebody and invites them up on stage.
And he's probably one of the most engaging singers, performers that we've ever seen.
90-year-olds on, in fact,
Oh, that was really cool.
Anyway, let's get back to this. But that's exactly what a sextile or really any aspect is, right? And if can I take this one extra further? A square, which is always the stress or the, frustration or a little
more
bit
of a
conflict.
challenge.
Yeah. The square, the 90 degrees is like, the police officer seeing you, light up a joint or something. And you're like, oh, I see you. And you're about to be removed from this concert. Kind of that, just a different.
And we've all seen that too.
Right. A rowdy something
right.
Gets removed from the concert. But again, there's an alignment there. There's an aspect there.
Right.
But the sextiles are like, hey, boom. And maybe we could use the trines. Again, okay, so let's kind of stay here for a second because I really like what you just said. So that sextile is somebody in the audience that's one of a million or okay.
Right. Doesn't matter that number. A lot.
That one person takes this opportunity, right? An opportunistic, feels that you're in a good position, good timing, and says, I love you, John, right? And is heard.
Right.
That's a sextile. But a trine would be Michael Franti looking at someone, just making eye contact and inviting them up on stage. Right. When that person did not
engage or
did not
reach,
get off the couch or whatever, did not walk toward or took action to engage in something, right? So just that is a good combination of the
comparison between the
comparison
trine
of
and
these.
sextile.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have the opposition and the conjunction, but we'll save that to another time.
Yeah.
But,
so let's move on to July.
No, we're still on the Mercury making a sextile to Jupiter.
So you really want to dig into this one.
Yeah,
okay.
it's like speak it out loud. And in fact, I'm reading the notes that I have, right? So what you kind of...
I hit it on the head, apparently. I nailed it.
Speak it out loud. The pieces are coming together. Don't be shy. Oh my God. Say it out loud. It's the only way to get a response or an answer. Did you look at my notes?
I did not.
So that's the
right.
ESPN we have.
Oh, yes.
But that's because the Mercury is the small little pieces and Jupiter is the big picture. So it's the small person in the crowd and the one, important player that everybody came to see on stage, right? So that's exactly like if you're everything, like you've got an alignment here for anything you want to do. It's not just going to I don't think he's on tour right now, but it's kind of like what around this day on the Monday, we're just coming back from a 4th of July weekend, right? And we know that the year's half over. And because we're into July already, and it's kind of like, don't be shy, get moving, say something out loud that maybe you've been afraid to say. It will land and you will get a response or an answer.
Right. So let's see. Let's move on to the next transit, which is July 10, Wednesday, Sun trine Saturn retrograde.
Yeah. And this isn't now at like 10 o'clock at night. And, I talk about Erin Sullivan, who just left the planet in December, and she was the retrograde queen, really. But when the sun is making a trine to these outer planets or the superior planets, it really just means that that planet has either just gone retrograde or it has just come out of retrograde. And she writes that the sun overpowers, the sun dominates in the trine, the retrograde planet that the sun is aspecting. And so, of course, we've got the sun in Cancer here, which is a water sign, making the trine to Saturn retrograde, water sign, Pisces, right? So sun becomes you. It can look good on you, right? It could feel good because it's in a water sign. Have the perfect amount of what you can accomplish with the self-control that provides the discipline. So I was targeting this date originally for me to get back on my food program, right? Because I want to put on a bathing suit when I get to Greece and Egypt and all those places when I'm heading there in the fall. And so I originally targeted this date to really see this inner control, this inner self-discipline that is how important is what I want in the current phase of right now, right? And this is a great time. But what I did instead is I thought, oh my gosh, that's 10 extra days. I should really start earlier.
You started earlier.
And I started earlier and I did the Saturn making the turning retrograde. But this just kind of does it like, check. Am I doing okay? Did I start the program right? It's like in 5 months when the Saturn starts to station forward. This is the middle, right before Thanksgiving, thank God. Yay, to lots of turkey and pumpkin pie. That in 5 months, what do you look like? Are you more vital? Right? Because it's the sun. The sun is vitality. It's identity. It's who we are.
Right.
Right. So it's kind of like what disciplinary project of self, not your house, not your, not your car, not your relationship so much. It's self. How can you gain more beauty, vitality, authenticity,
character,
right? All honesty, all of this plethora of personality. Are you who you want to be? This is a great time to say, you know what? I've always wanted to do that and I've slacked. Stop slacking, people.
Right.
Hey, I'm a slacker myself sometimes. I'm a Pisces. Like, I'll do it another time.
Well, I mean, we can't always be going in absolutely one direction of hustling and making it all work out. Like,
those are monks, right? That are dedicated to one thing, only one thing.
Right. But there's, when they're not meditating, they're resting. Right. Like there is you have to have a brake to go with the gas pedal. Like there has to be that
like
duality.
That. Yeah. Yeah.
So, slacking or resting, there's not enough rest, I think, sometimes.
Right. And with purpose versus like, hey, I'm going to take a rest now versus like, I'm just going to go chill out. Maybe we use the word rest instead of chill. But I want to say this one again. Have the perfect amount of what you can accomplish with your self-control that provides the discipline.
Yes. Okay. So let's move on to July 11th, Thursday. We have Venus trine Neptune retrograde.
Okay. So there's also reception here because Venus is exalted in Pisces where Neptune is. This is vision is conceived. Now, new ideas need form. And Venus, and she does really good in the sign of Cancer where she is currently. But she's almost done because she's at 29. In other words, any planet making a trine or a sextile or a square or an opposition or a conjunction to Neptune these days is at 29 degrees. That's where Neptune is. And so really, if we talk about 29 degrees Pisces, it's the bottom of the barrel. He is at the end of the entire cycle sitting on my sun, which my sun is at the end of the entire cycle.
Right. Which I do want to take this moment real quick and say that anyone who's interested in following along with these transits personally in your chart, since we're talking about Sandy's chart right now, you can download your natal chart on our website. Go to intentionbeads.com/chart. And that's where you'll see your chart. What you're going to be looking for is that 29 degree somewhere in your chart.
Yeah, because all these, transiting planets now are not all, but most of them are coming, especially the personal planets. So here's Venus. So vision is conceived. New ideas need form. Use yesterday's focus and control to produce the final results, right? Because it was the sun trine, the Saturn that I spent too long on because you were giving me the eyeball. And then the next day, this Thursday, the 11th, we get this ease of what is that vision? Can it come to fruition? It's with Neptune. Is this mirage? Is this beautiful oasis in the desert real? Right? Is this ghost real? Is this spirit real? Let's talk about ectoplasm again. Oh my God, You're
still reeling.
I got an update on that. But how can you produce this final result? Because your vision can be conceived. You have to have time to get it to. It's just not going to happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to work on it, but there's a great time to come up with that vision.
Yes. So that's one of the two transits that is happening on Thursday, the 11th. The next one is Venus ingress Leo. So Venus was trining Neptune retrograde. Now Venus is stepping into the sign of Leo.
Woohoo! Take pride. This is throughout the rest of the month because we're already in the 11th. So for the rest of the month, do you need a new hairstyle?
Mm-hmm.
Go big, go colorful. And I was thinking about adding my purple streak back into my hair. What do you think about that?
Why not?
Okay.
It's only hair.
It is only hair.
Right.
My son does not like it. He thinks I look. He's like, Mom, why did you do that? I'm like, because I wanted to. And then he stopped.
Yeah.
He didn't ask any follow-up questions.
I mean, there's your answer.
Yeah. Anyway, kind of take pride in what it is you want to, how do you want to look? Because it's Venus, what you value, right? Maybe watch overspending a little bit because that's very grandiose royal sign of Leo. Like everything is like, I want 3 of those or 1 in each color, right? So be aware of that. But really, when I say you need a new hairstyle, go big. It's not like, I'm still watch your pocketbook.
Mm-hmm. Right. But take pride in those things that you do for yourself.
Yeah. What does my best friend Jim say? If you want to do, there's no sense in doing it unless you overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he says something like that because he always takes something. He has an idea and then he takes it over the top, which is so much more grandiose. Again, that's the Leo, grandiose.
Right. Mm-hmm. So let's move on to the final transit of the week, which is July 12th, Friday, Venus opposing Pluto retrograde.
Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. The opposition of Pluto retrograde. And this happens early in the morning, like 9 o'clock. Is everything so important? Right? It kind of feels, very like dredgy. And it can be. It's Venus who has just really done this really beautiful trine to Neptune with reception, is now looking straight in the eye of the, the destroyer, right? And we would say not, we put our arms up like not everything is important. Only those that have been in your heart center. Mm-hmm. Those are being kind of figured out. This is a great week. And then this is a great ending to the week that says, what is not important, because everything is not so important.
Right. I think that is a huge trap to think that everything is so important, because it gives distraction. It dilutes clarity. It gives you a sense of like insane stress, right? Because I actually just had this conversation, and it was just comparing somebody's work performance with their like coworker's performance. This coworker was saying yes to everything, thinking that everything was super important, was trying to do everything all at the same time, and at the same extent and for the same value. And their performance over, say, like this, 9-month period just was static. And they were getting frustrated.
Wow.
And then they were trying to then compete with this person that I was talking to and say, well, I do all of these things, when this person I'm talking to focuses on their top priority and gets that done and shows results. And not only does that like intrinsically help you feel more valuable, help you feel more clear and focused and
pinpoint,
able to succeed because you've set out to do this one thing and you did it, rather than, oh, everything's so important, I'm going to juggle. And then like all you see and all you feel is all of the balls being dropped to the floor. Like, see the difference in that? Like, it's huge. And so everything is not so important.
Right.
What is it within our heart, within our priority list, or within, as organized and clear as we can get, what is top priority? Focus on that, get it to the finish line. Then guess what? Knock the second thing off.
Right. Yeah.
So huge.
Put that ball on the shelf, safe, contained,
right.
Go on to the next ball. You have no balls on the floor.
Right.
It's kind of like when I came back from an event and I was pretty much exhausted, which, if I said, oh, we haven't talked about, what have we not? Oh, we did talk about that last week. Excuse me, that I kind of hit a wall, right? I kind of hit a wall recently.
Right.
And actually I'm finding out a lot of sensitive or spiritual or intuitive people hit walls. Like there's people that I'm reading that are saying, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm not able to perform. I'm going to take 2 weeks off. I'm going to take a month off. I'll be back. I'm so sorry. Somebody else is going to take over for me.
And I think it's the overgiving.
Yeah. It's the multitasking that is all of a sudden now that you have no heart in the game, because your heart is like broken, kind of in a
exhausted.
Exhausted,
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to say something about that. There was that during that time when I would like go up to the kitchen and like make meal, and it would be like, okay, I can make a meal, but I can't like chop and cut and wait and saute, and I can't do all that because I don't have the energy. So I'm now picking things out of the refrigerator. They're just simple, easy, not probably healthy. And then the dishes be like, I can't. I only have this much energy left and it has to be I have to use it to get ready for bed.
Right.
Because I have to get up tomorrow. And so there were some times I look at my kitchen sink going, who am I? I am like I don't know, somebody that doesn't care about there's dirty dishes in the sink. But it was just like, I didn't have enough. So it was like, what is important, Sandy? What is important? Getting done with your client work, getting done with the work that you've made promises to, the dishes, the laundry, the changing my sheets, all that personal stuff was like, no, can't do it.
And you made that decision. But I also think that there absolutely has to be a higher priority than work. And that is your health, and your nutrition.
Track. Right. I lost track.
Right.
And what happened? Bam.
And guess what? It's super easy for everybody. Yeah. It is. We've all been there. We've all fallen back into the hole that we we're just got out of, like how? But yeah, it does. It can be self-sacrificing. It can be distracting. It can be, and then it starts compounding when we're not eating right and focusing on our top priorities of rest, exercise, and nutrition and hydration. How do we expect our bodies to perform? Somehow we do, because we have crutches like coffee and quick foods and things like that. But over a long period of time, that is definitely not. And even a short amount of time, it will affect for sure.
Can I, while you were, can I read, I don't think we've read it here on the podcast in the last couple of years, the Portia Nelson poem about that.
Oh, this, because that's actually what I was visioning as I was saying that. Yeah.
That's kind of
our
what
ESPN is.
Our ESPN is tuned in, and we paid a subscription.
Yeah, go on.
We've upgraded our subscription. This is an autobiography in 5 chapters. That's what it's called. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am hopeless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. I'm getting goosebumps. I want to cry right now. That's not part of the Chapter 2.
Okay.
Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I am in the same place. But it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it is there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it.
Boom.
Chapter 5. I walk down another street. It makes me want to cry, doesn't it?
No, it's just learning our lessons, right? And it's not always the same lesson, or there's parts of it that are just, I've been here before. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? But as soon as we take authority over our life and our choices, and we realize that this is 100% my doing.
Right. It isn't my fault. Right. How come the hole's there?
That's why it takes so long to get out of it. That's why it takes so long.
Wait, explain that more.
Because, all right, you fall into the hole. Guess who you're blaming? You're blaming the city. You're blaming the person who, dug the hole.
Yeah.
You're so focused and so angry at the other people that are literally not going to help you. Until you start realizing, oh, I'm just projecting my anger, or I'm releasing my anger in other areas. What I could do is use my anger to make a big change and notice that this change only can come from within me. Mm-hmm. And once you make that change, that's when your awareness comes in. That's when you're shifting your perspective. That's when you're shifting your behavior. and then you walk around the dang hole. And then once you keep walking around the dang hole, you're like, wait a minute, I don't even have to walk down this street. I can take, Main Street, take a right, and then I don't even have to be around this hole where I could fall in, even just trip and fall in by accident. So it is such a great poem. I'm really glad you brought that back because it's so good.
And the idea too of this hole, right? It's like we're walking along a pavement, like what is inside of us? What is this deep hole inside of us that we keep falling into, right? Of like you said, blame and shame and guilt and all these things that could are of our past, and we hold on to them. It's like, you know what? Let go, hold on to something else.
Yeah.
Right. Hold on to the forward future. Right. And that's kind of what we do here at Intention Beads, right? With holding on to a talismanic, alchemical, magical, planetary alchemy. Right? There's a lot of it.
That was a lot of adjectives. Okay.
I was using all of the ones I had. That's all I got.
All right.
But to know that we are the only ones that can make something better. Now,
in our lives, yeah.
In our lives. I mean, yes, there's health issues, there's situations that we can
that are
assist,
totally out of our control.
But we can try to see the other side of that, the different perspective. I know we talked about perspective last week, and we talk about that a lot. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So what an interesting week. I mean, like, we're both excited about it and excited to talk about it, but that is the week for you all. And we're going to move into talisman times, where Sandy has an upcoming talisman and we are highlighting our talisman of the month. So for the upcoming talisman, Tuesday, July 9th, to honor both personal needs and social connections.
Kind of like we were talking about this whole time, right? I embrace the balance between my inner emotional world and my public life. I use my wisdom as I navigate my relationships, like that navigation word, right? And again, I wasn't planning any of this, synchronicity, but, pay attention. There's so much going on in the world right now, or particularly in your home or your mind or your friendship. I could probably spend on our house and give you just a dozen things that have intuition has come to me to do something, and I'll follow that intuition, and I was right. It flowed, or
and it aids you. Yeah,
it aided me. So this is the sun in Cancer, the moon is in Virgo, making that square to Jupiter in Gemini. So this is a big mercurial. Because the moon is in Mercury sign and Jupiter is in Mercury sign, in that they're looking at each other going, moon, right? How can we have our personal needs? And Jupiter in Gemini are social connections. How can we, it's a square.
Right.
So here's that square, right? Like when you're like, let's bring that story that we just said, you're somebody we're watching, or it's ourselves, or whoever is doing something bad, or we're doing something kind of unlawful. We think we can get away with it, kind of at the concert when somebody's smoking a joint or something and we see the police officer, right? That could be the square. But to know that, oh, you know what? I'm going to put this out. What I'm going to know now is not to bring that ever back into a concert, right? Like having
I think
the
where
balance of what socially is acceptable and what my personal needs are.
Correct.
Right.
Which, I mean, that's an unlawful example of it. But I think, to honor both your personal needs and your social connections, there's a huge meaning behind that, because we've all been in those situations where, say, we're in a social atmosphere and people are talking bad about somebody, and internally our personal need is, no, this is wrong and I can't do any, and you just go along with it because you just feel like there's nothing else to do. But to honor both your personal needs and those social connections, you know it's wrong. You can speak up and say something and say, hey, listen, why don't we just change the subject? I don't really want to talk about this.
Yeah, that wasn't my
well, yeah, you don't want to deepen the conversation
right,
but you just want to say, hey, listen, this isn't something we should be talking about.
Yeah, and that wasn't my observation about that person. So, this is my observation. And so let's continue on to something else.
Right. But also the inverse of like, you have personal needs, but you also have relationships. You also have, you can't always be operating in a 100% selfish way where, your social connections don't matter because we are
social beings.
We are social beings. And, some bit of either self-sacrifice to go the extra mile for a friend, to, show up in the community and give our time and our energy and our effort, finding those differences and finding the balance between them. And it's always going to be ever rebalancing, but it is a great idea to honor both of those.
Yeah. And, I'm going to just say it here, and we'll talk more about this next week, so you can put it on your notes. That video, the DVD I bought about faces, right? Because we are social beings, that our expression on our face reveals so much. So I want you to watch this DVD. When's the last time you watched DVD? Because it's not streaming. It's unavailable on streaming. And I'll tell this whole story about how I found out about this. And I've kind of gone down not a deep hole in the sidewalk, but I've kind of gone down a curiosity chute of finding out about what the documentaries are on facial expressions. And
very interesting. And I think we can talk about that next week.
So you're going to come, you'll and watch the show with me, because I want to watch it again and again and again so I can watch people's faces.
Yes. Okay, so let's move on.
Or pay attention to my own face.
Let's move on to Talisman of the Month for July. We have To Journey to Self-Discovery. And this talisman is up on the website, ready for viewing and purchase. It has a very special price, and also it has a very special shipping credit as well. The affirmation: I trust in the divine timing to deepen bonds and expand my horizons. I am guided by these gentle currents of intuition. So that journey of self-discovery, those little minor details that we're noticing within our habits, within our behaviors, within our speech, and we're guided by them. Oh, why did I say that? I want to be curious about that, and I want to explore that, and I want to deepen my bond with myself and with the knowing that I have.
Yeah, I know that in our house you have prepared a meditation.
Right.
However, this would be a great time to, in our house, maybe we talk about this another time, write this down on your notes, to talk about the conversations we had yesterday with some of our friends. The questions about.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So, yes, the meditation is coming up in our house. And also, I'm going to quick mention here, because this is the last time I'm going to be mentioning it here on the podcast. We do have our Venus Star Point and Gemini Talismans still available on the website. If you want to check those out, that link is in the show notes under the Venus Star Point Talismans. So let's move on to the horizon, where we have just finished up our July astrology forecast and cheat sheet. So whenever you're ready, jump over to our Patreon page where you can access all of those. And coming up this week, we have Wednesday, July 10th, our astrology webinar, where Sandy and Susan are going to be going through the part 1 of what the heck is going on in the United States with all of this political happenings. And Sandy and Susan are going to be giving their insights into what are we experiencing and what how is this developing?
Yeah, how's the astrology look for these conventions and to our United States of America birth chart?
Right.
And we're, celebrate. And it's the time to celebrate and time to look at that. Yeah.
So quick mentions in September, don't forget about our Greece retreat. We still have one room available. October, we have our Egypt retreat. And in January, we have our Mexico retreat where we're going to be diving into the basics of astrology and human design.
Woohoo! It's the new word. It's been around since I think 1978, but it is certainly a catchphrase of human design. Do you know your human design? What is your profile? What is your authority? What is your definition? These are all things that you're going to learn from a brilliant practitioner, Christine Flowers, who has been really studying this for years with the masters.
Right. So if you are interested in joining us for any of our retreats and you want to ask a few questions, make sure to book your free 15-minute reading with Sandy to ask any of those questions.
And the Mexico retreat still has the early bird price.
Correct. So let's move into our house where I have a meditation for you all to help really distinguish your emotions, really connect within those personal ebbs and flows that we have and how they affect our body.
And what's really cool, if I just read that, throughout this meditation, if you think about, bust out, speak it loud, sun becomes, vision is conceived, take pride, is everything so important. So all those kind of hits that are happening this week, to take that into this meditation, let's see what you come up with.
Right. And so remember, I'm going to kind of shorten this meditation. It is going to be available on my other podcast, which is Astrology Meditation. So if you want the full one there, go right ahead. But without further ado, we're going to jump in straight into the meditation.
Thank you, Alex.
During this short meditation, sit up in a chair with your feet on the floor and an eye mask over your eyes if you have one. Take this moment to get into position. Pause the episode here if you need to. In this meditation, I'll guide you to focus on several emotions, one at a time. Notice the effect that each has on your body. Each feeling will only last a minute. Let's begin. Settle your body and forgo everything outside of this moment. I want you to remember a place of safety, somewhere when you were a child, or a place you feel safe now. Where would you go when you needed a break from the world? Be there for a moment, noticing the details and the atmosphere. What does it mean for your body right now to feel safe? Where do you notice those feelings? Call attention to your temperature or any other fluctuations. Our emotions bring with them a certain physiological response. This moment, you are experiencing safety. If at any time this exercise becomes too overwhelming, you can retreat back here to your safe place for sanctuary. As we cycle through the next feelings, I want you to notice what and where you're feeling in your body. For example, you may feel heaviness in your chest, tightness in your hands, pain, comfort, lightness, or warmth somewhere else. Don't attempt to intellectualize or make sense of them. Just notice and observe your body's response. Imagine the feeling of fear. Think back to a time when you were feeling afraid, and allow yourself to experience some of those feelings again now. What do you notice in your body? What is your breathing like? Where in your body is the feeling of fear located? Take a minute to experience for a few more moments. Now imagine the feeling of hurt. Think of a time when you were feeling hurt and allow yourself to re-experience some of those feelings again now. What does hurt feel like in your body? And where in your body is the feeling of hurt located? Again, experience and note those physical sensations for a few more moments. Now, imagine the feeling of anger. Think of a time when you were feeling angry and allow yourself to experience some of those feelings again now. What does anger feel like in your body? And where in your body is the feeling of anger located? Take a few moments to experience that. Now, imagine the feeling of sadness. Think back on a time when you were feeling sad, and allow your body to experience that feeling again now. What does sad feel like? And where in your body is the feeling of sadness located? Notice those sensations for a few more moments. Now imagine a feeling of happiness. Think back on a time when you felt happy, and allow yourself, your body, to experience that feeling again now. What does happy feel like in your body? Where in your body is the feeling of happiness located? Now, imagine the feeling of pride. Think back on a time when you were feeling proud, and allow yourself and body to experience that feeling again now. Now, imagine the feeling of excitement. Think of a time when you were feeling so excited, and allow yourself to experience that feeling again now. When we are in tune with our bodies, we can open a channel of information where our bodies speak to us. Our bodies teach us that our emotions are simply information about a thought or a situation. Relinquish your judgments on what makes an emotion good or bad, because good or bad, they help us dive deeper into the meaning and purpose behind our response. Thank you for joining me today for this Cancer meditation. I welcome you to continue exploring this mind-body connection throughout the rest of your day. I'll see you back here at Astrology Meditation soon. And that is a wrap on our meditation and our episode. Thank you, everybody, for joining in this meditation, noticing where all of these emotions settle within our body, the ones that tickle us, the ones that kind of bring us down a little bit. It is all information for our bodies to try to speak to us.
Yeah. What is your body saying to you?
So thank you, everybody, for joining in on this episode. We will see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you, the story of you. The story of you, the story